In earlier video, we have started our topic number 3, that is ascent of sap. And from this topic, we have discussed regarding 2 points: introduction and definition, as well as transpiration pull or cohesion tension theory of ascent of sap. Now, in this video, we are going to discuss regarding next 2 points, that is evidences in support of transpiration pull theory and factors affecting ascent of sap. So, let's start with first point, that is evidences in support of transpiration pull theory. So, evidences in support of transpiration pull theory. Following are some evidences in support of transpiration pull theory. First one, the OP of mesophyll cell is more than 20 atmosphere, which indicates that it is quite sufficient for ascent of sap even in trees more than 200 meters tall. Second point, the process of is purely a physical one which does not require metabolic energy. Even if energy is required, it will be negligible. Third evidence, the tensile strength of xylem sap is 25 to 300 atmosphere, and this will be enough to avoid breaking of water column. So continuous water column will be maintained. And lastly, the porous pot experiment confirms the ascent of sap through transpiration pull theory. This is the diagrammatic representation showing demonstration of transpiration pull theory by physical force system, that is porous pot experiment, first diagram. Secondly, 3.6 demonstrate transpiration pull using transpiring plant. In this experiment, a porous pot is placed at the top of continuous water column and the water is subjected to evaporation. The water column under tension does not break due to cohesive property of water molecule, and a similar kind of mechanism may exist in plant. Next point, that is objections to transpiration pull theory. So there are very few objections to this theory, but all these have been overruled. First, due to variation in temperature during day and night and large diameter of vessels, there are fair chances of entry of air bubbles in water column. But this objection doesn't stand true, as water in xylem is under tension and air bubble formed will be dissolved soon or will disappear quickly. The other explanation given for this is that as there are many xylem channels or conducting strands in a stem, the water continuity will be maintained by side channels or xylem strands, which later on assume the normal track. Second objection to this theory, it is said that under excessive tension, the xylem vessels are filled with gas, which is known as cavitation. Milburn and Johnson in 1966 proposed that this problem will be solved as there are many columns of vessels running side by side. Blocking of one or the other will not hamper the ascent of sap. The cavitation is temporary effect and it will soon be relieved when the rate of transpiration decreases at night. The gases in xylem vessels will be dissolved and the continuity will be maintained immediately. Thus, the overall discussion and the evidences in favor of transpiration pull theory indicates that it is the only satisfactory mechanism of ascent of sap in plants. Next and the last point from the topic ascent of sap is that factor affecting ascent of sap. So there are some factors which affect the rate of ascent of sap, which includes soil water, temperature, light, atmospheric humidity, wind velocity, and different internal factors such as leaf size, leaf area, stomatas, or root system. So we are going to discuss one by one these factors which affect the ascent of sap. First factor, that is soil water. Presence or absence of water in the soil in which the plant is growing is very important factor affecting ascent of sap. So the availability of water will control the ascent of sap. The concentration of minerals in soil as well as the soil salinity or acidity will affect ascent of sap. saline water will inhibit the ascent of sap. So this is the first factor, soil water, which affect the rate of ascent of sap. Secondly, the second factor is temperature. It is the main factor affecting ascent of sap. With change in temperature, the rate of ascent of sap will also change. Increase in temperature will increase in the rate of transpiration, and naturally the increasing rate of transpiration will result into increased rate of ascent of sap. Under conditions of low temperature, the transpiration will be minimum or less, which will adversely affect ascent of sap, or the rate of ascent of sap will be low or minimum. Next, that is light. Light has an indirect effect on ascent of sap. Light will induce change in temperature, which has a direct effect on ascent of sap. So, light controls the closing and opening of stomata and thereby control the transpiration rate. And as transpiration increases, there is an increase in rate of ascent of sap. As transpiration decreases, there is a decrease in rate of ascent of sap. So, light indirectly affect the ascent of sap. Next factor, that is atmospheric humidity. The humidity in the vicinity of plant leaf controls transpiration. In dry weather, humidity is very less, and due to which rate of transpiration will be high, and naturally the ascent of sap will be very fast. But during humid condition, reverse process will be takes place. That means when humidity is higher, that or atmospheric humidity is higher, then rate of ascent of sap will be the low, and when humidity is lower, then rate of ascent of sap will be the fast. So we can say that atmospheric humidity is inversely proportional to the rate of ascent of sap. Next point, that is wind velocity. It also affects transpiration and indirectly ascent of sap. If wind velocity increases, the rate of transpiration will also increases, resulting in increasing rate of ascent of sap. But if the wind is blowing very high velocity, then the stomata will be closed, resulting in low or no transpiration as well as low or no ascent of sap. Next point, the leaf size, leaf area and number of stomata per leaf have direct effect on both the processes like transpiration as well as ascent of sap. And lastly, the root system, its type, its nature and root structure will affect ascent of sap. So here we done with our topic number 3, that is ascent of sap. Let's revise what points we have learned from this topic, or what are important points from this topic. First point, that is definition of ascent of sap, that is the upliftment of water and minerals from root to shoot of plant is known as ascent of sap. First point. Secondly, the process of ascent of sap circulates or distribute required nutrient needed for development to all the parts of plant. Thirdly, the upward translocation of water and minerals, that is ascent of sap, mainly takes place through xylem tissue. And according to root pressure theory, the root pressure developed in root due to absorbed water causes ascent of sap. The relay pump theory suggests that upward movement of water is due to pumping activity in living cells of xylem, wood parenchyma and medullary rays. Then Dixon and Jolly's cohesion tension theory, ज्याला आपण transpiration pull theory असंही म्हणतो, is the only theory of ascent of sap which is widely accepted and fully supported by the experimental evidences. And lastly, the different factors affecting ascent of sap includes soil water, temperature, humidity, light, wind velocity, etc. So this is the another important function performed by plant, that is ascent of sap, through which we understand that plant absorb water and minerals from soil and supply this water and minerals to various plant parts, as well as they uplift this water and minerals from root and reaches up to the shoot tip through a or by following different cellular pathways. So that's it from the topic called as ascent of sap. Thank you.